You know that feeling, right? When there's a silence in a conversation and it just feels wrong, like something important is being left on the table. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to explore something called reflective humanism, which is a philosophy that really values silence and, well, non-interference. And we're going to figure out why, for sincere, ethically minded people, that can feel so incredibly unsettling. So let's start with this core idea right here. Sincere people are sensitive to words. I mean, it's true, isn't it? If you're a sincere person, you feel this deep responsibility for clarity. You're probably highly attuned not just to what people say, but what they don't say. Because for you, words are the bedrock of trust. And this leads us to the big question, right? If sincerity is all about a commitment to the truth, why can ambiguity, and especially silence, feel so, well, dangerous? Why does it set off all these alarm bells in our heads? Yeah, that feeling of a threat, it's not just a little bit of discomfort. It's something much, much deeper. It's almost a reflex, a protective instinct. You can think of it as your mind's built-in defense mechanism, trying to protect your trust in the world and in other people. So when you run into that uncertainty, what happens? That sincere reflex just kicks in. You start searching for the intention behind the silence. You try to clarify what was said or not said. It's this natural, powerful drive to get a clear understanding, because any kind of gray area can feel like a direct attack on the very trust you need to get by. And this is so, so important to understand. This instinct is not a flaw, it's not a weakness. It comes from a place of real integrity. It's actually the clearest sign that you care deeply about having a reliable, truthful connection with the world around you. Okay, so where does this feeling of danger actually come from? The tension pops up because we're often caught between two different and sometimes competing ideas of what it even means to be sincere. Now, this is a really fascinating distinction. On one side, you've got the sincerity most of us know. Sincerity is accountability. Trust is all about clear explanations, the who, why, and what. But on the other side, reflective humanism offers something else, sincerity as co-presence. This isn't about explaining everything. It's about the trust you build by simply being there with someone, keeping the relationship going even when things can't be put into words. So here it is, that unsettling, dangerous feeling, that's the moment those two different approaches collide. It's a moment of total ethical disorientation, where your sincere need to explain and clarify suddenly runs into a dead end. So what do we do with that tension? Let's try to look at it from a new angle. What if that defensive reaction wasn't some problem to be solved, but was actually a powerful strength that we just need to understand better? First off, we need to redefine what silence even means in reflective humanism. It's not about avoiding things or refusing to engage. It's more like taking a breath. It's an active, patient kind of listening, a space that lets you keep observing until the situation has fully unfolded. And this just nails it. That reflex you have to demand clarity, to defend trust, that's your ethical muscle at work. It's the part of you that instinctively tries to keep your world and your relationships safe and trustworthy. So the invitation from reflective humanism isn't to get rid of this muscle. No way. Instead, the idea is to first just acknowledge that tension you feel. Then, just for a moment, see what happens if you let that muscle relax, just a little bit. What other kind of sincerity might you start to notice in that quiet space? And let's be crystal clear. This is not a call to be irresponsible. It's about finding a different shape for responsibility. It's one that isn't just explained away, but is actively shared and held right there in the silent space between people. This brings us to a really cool idea, the frontier of trust. Reflective humanism isn't just about silence. It's about exploring what happens at the absolute edge of our ability to trust each other. So at its heart, reflective humanism is really an exploration of these limits. It asks a pretty deep question we can all think about. What actually holds us together when our usual methods, clear explanations, and accountability start to fall apart? So that feeling of danger, that unease we started with, turns out it's actually a vital sign. It's proof that your capacity for trust is alive and kicking. It shows your sincerity hasn't become all rigid and hard. In a really beautiful way, it's a sign that the world is still trying to negotiate a truthful connection with you. So where do we go from here? Well, this isn't about giving you a final answer. It's really more of an invitation, a new space for you to continue this line of thought on your own.
Here's the first question to carry with you. Can an unexplainable sincerity really be trusted? I mean, how far are you willing to go, really, when trust can't be backed up with a neat explanation? And here's another one to chew on. Is it possible to maintain your integrity within silence? Can you stay true to yourself, to your values, in those moments when you consciously choose not to speak or not to interfere?
And finally, a more poetic thought to leave you with. If this kind of silent sincerity is really possible, what would that feel like? What kind of rhythm, what kind of breath would it have in your daily life?
And maybe that's where it all begins. Not in trying to conquer silence or make it go away, but in learning to listen. Listening for the subtle life, the quiet movement that's already there inside of it.